There is a strange moment that almost no one talks about, because admitting it feels like admitting something is broken inside you. It doesn't happen when a relationship ends. It doesn't happen when loneliness arrives. It happens much later, sometimes years later, when you meet someone who seems wonderful by every logical standard, and yet an invisible part of your mind quietly whispers that something is missing. You cannot explain what it is. She laughs differently. She smiles differently. She cares differently. Nothing is objectively wrong, yet everything feels slightly unfamiliar. That tiny feeling becomes the beginning of a comparison you never consciously wanted to make. You are no longer seeing the woman standing in front of you. You are measuring her against someone who no longer exists, not because she disappeared, but because your memory transformed her into something reality could never compete with. Most men never realize this is happening. They simply believe they haven't found the right one. What they fail to understand is that they have been searching for someone who isn't real anymore. They have been chasing a memory that has quietly rewritten itself every year they lived without it. The first love does not become unforgettable because she was perfect. In fact, she probably wasn't. She misunderstood you. She disappointed you. She had flaws you could list without thinking. But the human mind has a dangerous habit. It edits pain long before it edits pleasure. The sharp arguments begin fading first. The awkward silences disappear. The ordinary afternoons vanish completely. What survives is emotional intensity, because intensity leaves fingerprints on memory that logic cannot erase. Years later, your brain is no longer remembering a person. It is remembering how alive you felt while becoming someone through her eyes. That distinction changes everything. You don't miss her exactly. You miss the version of yourself that only existed while loving her. That is why another woman can do everything better and still feel strangely distant. She listens more carefully. She understands you more deeply. She treats you with greater kindness. Yet something refuses to settle inside you. It feels unfair because it is unfair. She is competing against an emotional museum where every exhibit has been carefully restored, polished, and protected from reality. Real people cannot compete with edited memories because real people continue making mistakes. Memories don't. They freeze forever at the exact emotional temperature that marked your life. Every new connection unknowingly walks into a room where the standard was established years before she ever arrived. Most people think first love matters because it happens first chronologically. That is only half the truth. It matters because it teaches the nervous system what emotional attachment feels like before experience has built defenses. Before disappointment becomes expected. Before caution begins protecting the heart. Everything during that first experience enters the mind without resistance. Every compliment feels impossible. Every touch carries discovery. Every goodbye feels catastrophic because you have never survived one before. The emotions are not stronger because the relationship is stronger. They are stronger because your brain has nothing to compare them to. This is why later relationships often feel calmer but somehow less magical. It isn't because love became weaker. It is because your emotional system became educated. Surprise became prediction. Mystery became recognition. The unknown slowly disappeared. Your first love taught your heart what falling feels like. Every relationship afterward begins with a silent reference point already installed inside you. Without realizing it, you ask impossible questions. Does she make me feel what I felt back then? Does she create the same excitement? Does silence with her feel the same? Does missing her hurt the same? The comparison happens beneath awareness, quietly shaping emotions before logic has the chance to speak. The tragedy is that memory never stores love honestly. It stores unfinished emotions more vividly than completed ones. If your first love ended unexpectedly, your mind continues writing invisible chapters that never happened. It imagines conversations that could have saved everything. It invents futures that never existed. It fills empty spaces with hope instead of facts. Every unfinished ending becomes psychologically louder than relationships that reached a natural conclusion. Closure rarely changes memory because memory was never searching for truth. It was searching for emotional completion. That explains something many men secretly experience but almost never confess. Sometimes they don't even want their first love back. If she suddenly appeared exactly as she is today, reality would probably disappoint them. Too much time has passed. Too many people have changed. The chemistry might be gone entirely. Yet they still carry her everywhere because they are not carrying the real woman. They are carrying the emotional blueprint created during the years when everything in life still felt possible. Every new relationship unknowingly enters that blueprint, trying to fit inside dimensions it never helped create. There is another reason the comparison refuses to disappear. First love often arrives before identity is complete. You are still becoming yourself. Your ambitions are uncertain. Your confidence is unstable. Your fears are still discovering their names. She becomes attached not only to your life but to your formation. Every memory involving her is automatically connected to youth, possibility, innocence, and the terrifying excitement of not knowing who you would become. When you remember her, you are also remembering an entire version of life that can never return. It feels like longing for a person, but beneath that longing is something much larger. You are grieving time itself. That is why a familiar perfume, an old street, a forgotten melody, or even a certain season can awaken emotions you believed had disappeared forever. Your conscious mind insists you moved on years ago, but memory is not organized by calendars. It is organized by emotional associations. A single sensation unlocks a room inside your mind that has remained untouched for years, and suddenly every comparison begins again without permission. You wonder why someone new doesn't create that same feeling. The answer is painfully simple. She cannot recreate a moment that belonged to an entirely different version of you. Ironically, the more desperately a man searches for those old emotions, the further he moves away from experiencing something genuine in the present. Every comparison steals attention from what is actually happening. Instead of discovering someone new, he quietly evaluates how closely she resembles an emotional ghost. She doesn't know she is being measured. She only feels that some invisible distance always remains between them. She believes she is failing for reasons she cannot understand, while he believes something essential is missing that he cannot explain. Neither realizes they are both trapped inside a conversation being held with someone who left long ago. The cruelest part is that the memory becomes more beautiful precisely because it cannot be challenged anymore. Living people continue revealing imperfections. Memories don't argue. Memories don't disappoint. Memories never have bad days. They remain frozen at their brightest moments because time no longer forces them to evolve. The longer they remain untouched, the more impossible they become to replace. This creates an illusion so convincing that many men mistake nostalgia for compatibility. They believe they are searching for love when they are actually searching for familiarity. Those are not the same thing. Eventually, some men begin understanding the truth, and it arrives with an uncomfortable realization. They were never comparing women to their first love alone. They were comparing them to the first time they believed life could permanently change because of another person. They were comparing every new beginning to the emotional earthquake that only happens once, when the heart has never learned that love can disappear. No relationship can ever be first again. Expecting it to feel identical is like expecting sunrise to surprise you every morning after you've already seen thousands of them. The beauty remains, but innocence cannot be repeated. Perhaps that is why some memories refuse to leave. Not because they demand another chance, but because they became part of the architecture of who you are. They remain hidden beneath every decision, every hesitation, every unexpected feeling of familiarity. They quietly remind you that there was once a version of yourself who loved without calculation, trusted without evidence, and believed forever was an ordinary promise instead of an extraordinary hope. You don't keep comparing because your first love was necessarily the greatest woman you ever knew. You keep comparing because she was the first person to permanently alter the emotional language through which every future connection would eventually be translated. And maybe that is the most unsettling truth of all. One day, years from now, you may meet someone extraordinary. She may understand you in ways your first love never could. She may bring a kind of peace that younger versions of yourself would have mistaken for boredom simply because they had never learned that calm can be its own form.